Hello, this is Jim with Operation Ray of Light. I wanted to touch base today on the subject of surviving suicide. From a perspective, I really wanted to reach out and let people know normal processes that will take place within the process of being a survivor of suicide and kind of just normalize where these are. One of the things that does tend to happen and it can be a very solid piece is numbness. When something, a normal grief process takes place, or we have a death where it's expected, a lot of times the process is easier to work with because there's a transition period. Unfortunately, with the suicide, there is no transitional period. There's no saying goodbye, and things along those lines are very difficult to work with. So one of the natural defenses is to go into a state of numbness, and it is fully normal to do so. One of those pieces may be lacking the ability or the feeling to connect with other people, with your children, your family, your friends, not wanting to be in crowds or around people. It's very, very, very normal. Anger is a very normal part. Guilt, feelings of your own responsibility, even though there is usually nothing that can be done within the process, are all tied in. Going backwards in the mind and trying to replay every situation over and over again, reliving those pieces, and reliving how you heard or found out about what happened within the suicidal moment. The difficult piece is that all of these fit within a normal realm. Feeling depressed fits within normal. Angry, upset, sadness, crying too much, not being able to cry at all, because it affects every piece of our core from the top to the bottom. Other things that you can notice would be difficulty in focus and concentration, work difficulties, a hard time managing tasks that you normally had taken care of that were in the bag. All of that is normal. I wanted to go through a couple of options or ways that we can take and support each other and support other survivors. And one of the biggest ones is our connection from here to there. Being that we're all attached, whether you believe in a conscious or connection, all human beings are attached. Connection is started up from birth all the way through, as I've stated in previous videos, in our lives. And one of the things is the reach out. Now, the reach out is something that we can do towards each other. That's me experiencing and being able to just be present with somebody who is dealing with things. That doesn't mean I have to solve anything or change anything, because in all honesty, there are no solutions. Reaching out also is a process that can come down to not only a family level, because in a family level everyone has their own conclusions, but also reaching out to a professional level. Certified and licensed counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists can be a great asset for people who are dealing with issues around suicide survival and surviving the suicide loss of one that we loved. One of the things that is different in that relationship is that there is basically a unilateral goal between client and counselor or psychologist. And the goal is that there are no outside influences. It is helping the client to get to where they need to be. Working towards things from the counselor perspective, they can help with reflecting things and having a more of a exterior view and pointing out our blind spots that we deal with in the process of grieving and working through that period. Grief is a normal process. There's nothing that is intrinsically wrong. It's normal. When we lose a job or a career change or something like that, we experience grief. It's all normal. It's part of our DNA, and how we were made was to experience loss. And obviously, with sudden shock and things along that line, the sudden loss is much more significant. A couple tactics outside of that also that can be utilized is, working within the realm of, should you be having difficulty with sleep, the potential that while working with somebody like a counselor, if they recommend you seeking out medication management for a temporary purpose, that is sometimes a very valuable asset. Sleep is when the mind takes and defragments from all of the different stressors of the day. In insomnia following the death of somebody important, following a traumatic loss, is very common. You need it. There's no way around it. We do not function without sleep. The body is a system. It's almost like trying to operate a vehicle without any oil in the crankcase. Eventually, it's going to break down. Once again, reaching out, getting connected is very important. Another tool that can be a great asset is what I call the brain dump. The brain dump is a process of taking all the thoughts and being able to put them down into a place, and to take every thought, good thoughts, negative thoughts, hard thoughts, and writing them down. Utilization of a notebook such as this, putting things down, and being able to write can be a process which I call the Triple H. The Triple H is that we work with our head, we process through our heart, and we utilize our hand within the book or the journal. This Triple H process and brain dump helps us to unload. Unloading is such a valuable thing, and sometimes we just cannot do it in any other way. We can't do it with other people because we're afraid of what may be said or heard or what may come down with the different things. It's vitally important to take and be able to get our feelings and emotions out. The longer that we take and hold and contain them in, the longer that our grief will last. Also vitally important is trying to avoid excessive alcohol usage or drug usage. Excessive alcohol and drug usage can lead to a longer prolongation of the grief process. We do need to be able to feel within the grief process because it's normal and it is within our nature. Alcohol and substances, when taken to excess, a lot of times will take and push us beyond our ability to process what we're supposed to be able to process. And there is a process for sitting grief. And sometimes it's going through the anger and the emotions and the feelings and the stress and the pain. And sometimes it's trying to put our lives back together and work things from one end to the other. I just wanted to kind of put into this perspective that there is also a way of working to look at how we're going to gain from what happened. And that is a brutal piece. If we dwell within the negativity of what has happened, of a suicide, we can be stuck in that place. And it's almost like quicksand. The more we move within that position, the more we sink into it until we're overcome within it. To avoid the quicksand, Viktor Frankl believed that there was a healing through meaning. Healing through meaning is trying to find, whether it's finding the purpose or the meaning of why or how we exist. Our challenges a lot of times are what make us able to complete larger tasks in life. When we're dealing with the suicide of a friend or family member, trying to find a way over time to think about the good thoughts that have happened, to think about things that were there, to think about the good stuff that happened in one's life, instead of the traumatic moment of the end of it. As I think about the memories of my grandfather, I will always remember my father talking about putting a cat in his lunchbox and how my grandfather really didn't appreciate that much. I will also always remember when my father, took us out for our first hunting trips. When he spent one-on-one time with myself and out in the boat. When he spent time with, my brothers and I, my brother, and I, and his grandkids. Those are the memories that we remember. When he came home, or we spent time on the road with him when he was doing truck driving. Remembering how he could tell a good story and everybody would bite into it. Remembering how he could take and tell jokes better than anybody else on the planet. And remembering the vast knowledge that he had of anything mechanical and how to fix anything. Those are the memories that bring forth a positive thought and help towards attachment of good thoughts and a moving forward. And remembering that the process doesn't have a time limit. To grow takes time. To grieve takes time. I just wanted to put a few words out, and hopefully anybody who is dealing with being a suicide survivor, dealing with the loss of a loved one, loss of a veteran, loss of a friend, loss of a husband, a wife, a brother, a sister, hopefully we can take and support each other, realize that the process is very normal, and know deep within that we're all here for each other. Thank you very much. This was Jim with Ray of Light, Operation Ray of Light, and we'll be on with another video at some point soon. Have a great day. God bless.